Wendy Williams' narrative places fans in dull temperament. Where could Wendy Williams be? Four-section docuseries was delivered throughout the end of the week. The Lifetime creation has gotten a ton of media consideration, paving the way to its debut, and fans have been vigorously put resources into hearing Wendy's story. Notwithstanding, subsequent to review the narrative, many individuals have owned up to feeling discouraged. Fans are focusing on their profound responses to the series online. Fans put in a dull spot subsequent to seeing Wendy's narrative. One Reddit client opened up the conversation in a Wendy Williams subreddit. They began by saying, "I can't portray it, however seeing this narrative put me in the most bizarre mindset. This was so weighty to watch. Could it be said that anyone is else simply in such an unusual state of mind in the wake of seeing Wendy?" They proceeded, "It was dull. In such an alternate manner. Seeing somebody that has been a particularly entertaining impact on our lives have dementia is so heavy." The individual attempted to envision what it resembled being Wendy, who was acting unpredictable openly, however whose psyche was crumbling simultaneously. "Like she really doesn't have any idea what's up," the fan composed. They then, at that point, shared that seeing Wendy Williams act this way sent them into their own mental haze. For reasons unknown, they aren't the main watcher having this impression in the wake of watching the Lifetime narrative. Who is paying special attention to Wendy Williams? Many individuals took to the remarks to discuss how weighty and dim the narrative felt. Various fans said that they wound up crying throughout the course of recent days subsequent to watching it, pondering Wendy and the result, all things considered. A few group communicated frustration in individuals encompassing Wendy Williams all through the narrative. "It just drove me miserable and crazy at the framework and somewhat her loved ones. They ought to have been done all the more sooner," one individual shouted out in the remarks. Someone else referenced Wendy's excursion to Los Angeles and that it was so maddening to watch the previous daytime anchor person let her imagination run wild to be let down. That misfit hauling her to LA under the desire for another show was simply miserable, the fan composed. "It's Wendy and she couldn't have ever to typically ask. That chick was hauling her like a man in a white van with candy. Simply hanging, and it was infuriating." There were a couple of individuals who addressed whether the makers of the series took advantage of her in any capacity. All things considered, they caught a few very personal minutes, including a scene where she plunks down with black china and eliminates her hairpiece. "It felt yucky to watch," one fan shared. Makers of the docuseries have taken a stand in opposition to what it resembled to film the task and how they approached concluding what might be incorporated and what wouldn't. They say that they gave their all to recount Wendy's story without placing her in a terrible light or taking advantage of her in any capacity.